Imagine showing someone from 1985 your life today. You pull out a smartphone, a device more powerful than the computers that sent astronauts to the moon. You can order food in minutes, watch any movie ever made, talk to someone on the other side of the planet for free. And then you tell them you can't afford a house. You tell them rent eats up half your paycheck. You tell them you have student debt, car payments, credit card balances. And suddenly, the future doesn't look as advanced as the technology. Because despite living in one of the richest periods in human history, millions of young people feel financially stuck. They work, they save, they follow the rules. Yet many feel further behind than their parents did at the same age. So what happened? Are young people actually poorer? Or does it just feel that way? Because history suggests the answer is more complicated than either side wants to admit. To understand why so many young people feel behind today, we need to travel back a few decades. For much of the post-war period, the economic formula seemed relatively simple. Get an education, find a stable job, buy a house, start a family, build wealth. It wasn't easy, but for millions of Americans, it was achievable. In 1980, the median home price in America was roughly 3 times the median household income. Today, in many major cities, that ratio is closer to 6, 7, or even 10 times income. Housing isn't the only difference. College costs have exploded. Healthcare costs have climbed. Childcare costs have surged. Meanwhile, wages have grown, but often not as quickly as the things people need most. And this has created a growing feeling that something is broken. But here's the twist. The story isn't as simple as everything was better back then. Because every generation faces different challenges. The real question is whether today's challenges are uniquely difficult. And the data suggests they might be.
Most people assume the villain is low wages. But that's only part of the story. The real villain may be asset inflation. For decades, governments and central banks have tried to support economic growth. Interest rates fell. Credit became easier to access. Money flowed through the system. And over time, assets became more expensive. Homes, stocks, land, education, even basic necessities. This created a strange divide. People who already owned assets often became wealthier. People trying to buy those assets faced increasingly higher barriers. Imagine 2 people. One bought a home in 1995. The other is trying to buy one today. The first person benefited from decades of rising prices. The second person faces those prices. Same market, completely different experience. This helps explain why wealth inequality widened. Because wealth doesn't just come from income, it comes from ownership. And ownership has become harder to achieve, especially for younger generations.
Now, let's look at today, because this is where things become confusing. By many traditional measures, the economy looks strong. Unemployment remains relatively low. Corporate profits are high. Technology continues advancing. And yet, surveys consistently show that many young adults feel pessimistic about their financial future. Why? Because everyday life feels expensive. Housing, insurance, education, healthcare, childcare. The list goes on. Many people aren't comparing themselves to the Great Depression. They're comparing themselves to what their parents achieved. And when they see their parents buying homes in their 20s, while they're renting in their 30s, the comparison feels personal.
Of course, not everything is worse. Technology is better. Information is more accessible. Many products are cheaper than ever. But some of the biggest milestones of adulthood, homeownership, family formation, financial independence, have become harder to reach. And that's where much of the frustration comes from. Not from absolute poverty, but from relative expectations.
Now, are young people doomed? Absolutely not. Could housing become more affordable? Of course. Could wages continue rising? Without question. But if we're going to understand why so many people feel financially stuck, we need to stop pretending the problem is purely psychological. And we need to stop pretending everything is hopeless. The truth lives somewhere in the middle. History shows that economies change. Generations face different opportunities, different obstacles, different realities. The goal isn't comparing your life to your parents'. The goal is understanding the world you're actually living in. Because in economics, the biggest mistakes often happen when people expect the future to look exactly like the past. And right now, that may be the lesson worth remembering.
History doesn't repeat. It rhymes. If you enjoy simple explanations of the biggest economic stories shaping your future, subscribe to Market Rhymes.